Hey, this is Warren from Taming Sorry, and you're listening to On the Fly with Stevie and Jason.
You are listening to On the Fly.
What's up, guys? Tonight or this week on the Fly, our newest episode is going to be another interview. From Brickshore Media. Nicole, thank you so much for hooking us up with these artists. It's up and coming country music artist Miss Noelle Toland. Guys, check her out. You will love this interview. She was absolutely great, sweet lady, just talented as they come. She has got what it takes to hit the big time. She just released a new video this week for her new single "Limbo," and that's a catchy tune. If you want to check it out, you can check it out on Apple. You can check it out on Spotify, wherever you get your music from. She's there. And also go subscribe to her YouTube channels. Go follow her on Instagram, uh, TikTok, Facebook, wherever you're on social media. Check her out. Twitter, check her out there. But if you want to hear it, check it out after the interview is over. The show is not over because we're going to have her single on here, just like we did Justin Caleb's last week. We will have Limbo in its entirety. They were gracious enough to give me permission to do that in its entirety after the show was over with. So, guys, enjoy. Like I said, support these guys that I have on here. There's more to come from Brickshore Media. Like I said, thank you again, Nicole, for being gracious enough to let me interview these guys. And guys, support these up and coming artists, and let's get them to the big time. Like I said, without further ado, here's Miss Noelle Toland. What's up, guys? On the Fly's back again tonight, and we're keeping it country again this week. Last week we had Justin Caleb with us from Brickshore Media, and again, Nicole has been gracious enough to hand me these up and coming artists. And guys, I'm telling you, Justin was great last week, and this week we are fortunate enough to have, just after her video was put out yesterday for her new single "Limbo," and we're going to talk a little bit about that in the future. We have Miss Noelle Toland with us tonight. How you doing? Did I say your name right? I say your name right, didn't I?
Yeah. How'd you say it? How'd you say it?
Noelle
Uh-huh.
Toland.
Uh-huh. Yep. Perfect.
Okay. So see, my last name, I don't know if you know tonight, it's Flythe.
Yeah.
And I get pronounced Flythe, but don't
Okay,
ask me
so how do
why.
you say it?
It's fly. It's just fly.
Fly.
Don't ask me just pretend like the THE isn't there.
Like Marty McFly?
Exactly. Hey, that was what everybody. I got called out more in high school than a little bit. Hey, Marty McFly.
That's
So, yeah.
awesome. What a cool last name.
Yeah, it's different. It's different, but and that's why when I did the show, that was one I asked the people on my Facebook what would be. We had 3 names to choose from, and that one was it. But people still say, some of them will come on the show and say, "Oh yeah, it's on the Flythe," and I'm like,
yeah,
no, it's not. But I'm used to it by now. So let's talk a little bit about you. While you're a busy lady these days. Now you didn't grow up in the South. The country artist. You didn't grow up in the South. You grew up in North Plains, Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
So growing up in Oregon, listening to music, what were you listening to as a kid? What was some of the stuff you listened to?
I grew up listening to country radio.
Okay.
And I fell in love with the storytelling. And my father also loved soul music. So there was a lot of Al Green, Aretha, Marvin Gaye played in the house. And then my mom really loved singer-songwriters. Like James Taylor was the first concert I ever went to when I was 7.
Wow.
And yeah, I was just enamored. And also Carly Simon, I love.
Believe it or not, my daughter, she's getting ready to turn 19, has turned into like a big Carly Simon fan in about the last 2 or 3 months. We were going somewhere and she said, of course, she's got to have control of the music, and she was like, "I'm gonna play the song, Daddy." She said, "Tell me what you think of this," and she played "You're So Vain," and she
Oh,
was like, "Who is that song about, Daddy?" I said, "That's been an ongoing thing for years. We don't, I couldn't tell you that, but
well,
I'm
they think
sorry to
it's
interrupt you."
Mick Jagger. I think
Oh
that's
yeah,
he
is
hasn't
that
officially said it, but
you
and
think that's who it
he's
is?
singing background vocals on that song too.
Wait till I tell her that. So, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You were talking
Yeah.
about who you
Oh no, I
coincided.
love talking about songwriters and music. I could go on forever. But my mom's from Louisiana, so and I spent a lot of time in the South. Like every summer, I would either spend time with my mother's side of the family down south or my father's side in Boston. But I just always identified with the stories that country music told. You know, I'm from a
Yeah.
small town. I grew up in the country, and I'm an only child, and so I would put on these shows with my dog, who's my best friend, and I would just dress up and sing and dance and run around the house thinking I was like, you know, some kind of performer. And when I
Hey,
was
good practice.
exactly, and my dog was the best audience, no booing
Yeah.
from him.
If the dog boos you, then you know you need to go a different direction.
Exactly, yeah.
Now you say you're from a
And
small town. How now I
mhm,
bet you I bet I can beat you. How small was your town?
it's around 2000.
I got you beat.
Yeah, what you got?
95 people.
95?
Yes, ma'am.
Stop.
We've got a stoplight. We have a private school. We have a country club, but we only have 95 people in this town. It's
Wow.
a
You have
little
a country
town in
club?
yeah, yeah. I don't ask me how that wound up here. I don't know. I don't. I'd love to hear the story, but I've never heard the story of how it ended up here. But yeah,
What's the town called?
Lasker, Lasker, North Carolina. It's like Eastern North
Mhm,
Carolina. The only time you'd probably ever hear it, and I know you probably, I don't know if you watched much American Idol in the past. You remember
mhm.
Chris Daughtry?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he grew up right down the road from me. Yeah,
Oh,
he's from here.
wow.
Yeah. So
That's
I
so
didn't,
cool.
it's amazing that out of this little town he came along, which he moved away when he was like 14 or 15. So we didn't see
Mhm.
much of him. And we've got a comment coming in. I don't know if you know who this is or not. It says hi from Jim and Nicole. So you got some people watching you up here.
Hi, Jim and Nicole. Love you.
So you said that your first concert was James Taylor when you were
Mhm.
7. So what was and I asked the people all this all the time because there's a lot of them that I remember when I bought my first, and I don't know how old you are. I'm almost 50. So
Mhm.
I talk about the first album I bought with my own money because CDs went around when I was that age. But I'm sure what was the first CD you bought?
It was the Beatles, Please Please Me,
Wow.
and I was obsessed with the Beatles when I was a kid. Oh my, I was obsessed. And yeah, it's that album where they're standing on a ledge and they're looking down. Yeah, I want to hold your hand. I
So
have a video. So when I was a kid, we had um, we had an assignment to come in and basically do a biography of a famous person, and I was the only girl that chose a guy. I chose John Lennon.
oh,
And
really? Okay.
so much fun. My dad helped me research everything, and I for the day of the presentation, I have it on tape, and it's hysterical. I have a yellow legal pad with all my notes, and I'm reading it, and you had to present yourself as if you were the person. So I was saying, my name's John Lennon. Uh, you know, I first fell in love with guitar. I think it was My Bonnie was the song, and
Right.
uh, I really loved cats and as a kid, and I had this little kitty cat T-shirt, and I was so awkward. I had big Coke ball glasses,
Oh, wow.
super awkward.
Vicious,
And then the
vicious.
funniest part was at the end of my presentation, I took a little boombox and I put in the CD of the Beatles, please, and I pressed start on Twist and Shout, and I'm
Oh,
up there going like
this
this,
should be on YouTube. This should be on YouTube.
and I'm
Wow.
up there, and then slowly, after about like an awkward 30 seconds, one kid gets up and does the Twist and Shout, and then slowly it was like a domino effect. Slowly, a few more.
Well, see, that was a sign of things to come. You had the audience in your hand. You got the audience to get up and dance. So, you talked about your parents had definitely an influence on you getting in music. When did you remember, like, I want to learn like guitar. I want to learn how to do this. Do you remember
So
when that was?
yeah, when I was 5, I got my first guitar. My parents got me one from Goodwill, and I'm left-handed, so
Oh yeah.
I don't think either of them knew that that's a thing at the time.
Yeah, I had no
Um,
idea. I never had any idea till recently that was a thing.
yeah, and so I got this guitar, and we didn't have a tuner, and I didn't know what I was doing. I remember just strumming it with my left hand. And then I kind of I got frustrated. I'm sure I got frustrated because if I wasn't really good at something right away, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I would typically
Same,
kind of go,
same
I'm
here.
too
Same
frustrated.
here.
So, but about maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, when I was in LA and I was recording, and I was like, I need to understand how this thing works. So I started guitar lessons, and I got a Yamaha, and I decided, I was like, I'm just gonna learn right-handed because I can watch YouTube videos, and I'll just figure it out how to do that, because I write left-handed, but I can do other things with my right hand. Like I eat with my right,
Okay.
play basketball right-handed. So I got a guitar then, and then when I moved to Nashville, I really was like, I have to just woodshed this thing, and I've been practicing like crazy. And it's funny. It's very frustrating because it's a skill that you have to work hard at. But I will say, like, every day and every morning after I've practiced the day before, I'm a little bit better.
Yeah.
And it's just that little bit. I'm like, okay, it's building up my confidence with the instrument. So I'm by no means good, but I'm definitely working really hard.
I got you. My daughter, she's learning. She started learning how, and now I've bought one too, and I have yet to pick it up and to tune it yet. So I've got to get around to doing that. I want to learn. Some couple more comments. My co-host on my sports podcast, Matthew Bazemore, saying, "Hi, Noelle. Lefties are awesome." So he must be a
Hi,
lefty.
Matthew.
Knowing him. So yeah, isn't YouTube amazing though? Can you imagine if you had YouTube when you were a kid? You could have learned to do anything. I fixed a washing machine off of YouTube, and I felt like I was like, yes. But yeah,
Awesome.
if I would have never attempted it without YouTube.
YouTube's great. It's just such a great platform to share ideas and
Find anything.
Oh, anything.
Yeah. So, did you ever venture out when you were when you were a teenager or whatever? Did you ever join a band?
I tried starting one.
Okay.
Yeah, when I was 8, I was obsessed with No Doubt.
And wow, you're all over the place, girl.
I love all types of music, and
I
was 8, and I tried. I was like, okay, I got all my little girlfriends, and everyone was kind of like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
but
nobody
that was
the first as you were. See, I was 5 years old. I had an older cousin. He was like 4 or 5 years older than me, and he was a Kiss fan. He showed me one of the covers, and I was just like that, and I was hooked. And so, yeah, the shows like you talk about, yeah, I did those, but I was dumb enough. One of the stupidest things I've ever done in my life as a kid, I was probably 8 or 9. The guitar player, his guitar smokes like when he does his guitar solo. And I was like, oh, I'll do that. So I got a smoke bomb. Okay, heat and plastic don't mix. After it was over with, my guitar that's probably worth about $300 now if you've got it right, was a big old plastic. I was like, that
Oh
was dumb.
no.
I was like, how stupid were you? But yeah,
I'm so
we did the
sorry.
whole show. We did the whole shows like that and everything. So when did you know, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to try to make a career out of.
When I was 5, I got on stage for the first time, and I was like, "What is this? I like this. I feel like I'm home. This is great." So it was around then I was like, I loved singing, and I would just spend so much time listening to music and trying to emulate inflection and pitch and phrasing, and I was just obsessed. And through school, I got involved with musical theater, and that provided me a lot of training in terms of just being on stage and building up my confidence. And then I went to Berklee College of Music when I was 15. I went for a summer program. It was a 5-week program, and I studied voice and musical theory. And that was really intimidating because everyone is so talented, and it's the best school in the world for music, as I'm sure you know. And I was thinking about going there for college as well. But I remember being like, whoa, I have to really like stand out some way, because it's not, in order to like forge a career, I learned there at an early age, it doesn't really matter how talented you are, because there's so many talented people.
Yeah.
I learned then, I was like, I have to figure out a way to stand out. But that's when I was like, okay, I have to and then I got back to school, and I think that was my sophomore year. And then I got cast as Lena Lamont in Singing in the Rain. And I don't know if you're familiar with the musical, but that part she's known for having a very high pitched, annoying, squeaky voice. And she does these like she talks
Oh,
crazy. And I was like the only one that's probably why I cast. It wasn't because I was a great actress.
you were the only one that could hit that note.
Yeah. And I had so much fun doing that. But that was around that time where I was like, okay, this is exactly what I want to do. I want to be a performer, and I want to be an artist.
Right. I'm sure your parents were thrilled, you know, with them as musically as they are. I'm sure they were thrilled with that, though, to see that you wanted
Yeah.
to take that step.
Yeah, they were incredibly supportive of my dreams, my pursuing my dreams, and very grateful for that. And yeah, they've been a great support system my entire life, and I
That's
just am
great.
very blessed.
So how hard was it to make the move? I mean, you talked about you went to Berkeley, but making that move to you know, stepping out on your own and wanting to be that performer, how hard
Yeah.
was it to make that move?
Well, first I moved to LA, and I went to college at Loyola Marymount in LA.
Wow.
And that I moved there. I didn't know anyone, obviously, not obviously, but I just didn't know anyone. But by going to school, I naturally started to build a community and foundation. And when I got to LA when I was like 18, I was sending, and at that time it wasn't as easily accessible to record your own music.
Right.
You could get, and you couldn't, like, iPhones had, were, a new thing, and they were very expensive. So what I would do is I had a little tape recorder, and I would record myself singing, and I would meet people out, and I would email my little recordings. And feedback were like, "Oh, you sound great. Best of luck." I actually, a lot of feedback I was getting was like, "Go on YouTube. You should start recording yourself on YouTube." And I didn't really focus on that until later, because I think I was really concerned about I didn't want to put things out that weren't high quality.
Right. Right.
But what now is everything's like TikTok and authentic,
Yeah.
and not polished. But yeah, so when I was in LA, I started playing covers at bars, and like the Viper Room, I played there.
Wow.
And Yeah, that was a cool experience and vibe playing out there. And that was and it was always with a live band, um, and rocking out and,
What kind of
it's
covers did you do?
oh, I did, gosh, the first song I did was Tracy Chapman, Give Me a Reason.
Oh,
You know, I
wow.
did
Yeah.
I did some Paul McCartney. I did Bonnie Raitt. It's funny. Had a Nashville Nights thing at Viper Room one time, and then, it's kind of funny. It's like manifested me moving here because one thing I was struggling with in LA was I was pursuing country music, and I just kind of felt like I was hitting a wall. Um, and I think there's something to be said of being in the mix and the energy field of people that are pursuing a similar passion that you are. And I'm really grateful to be here in Nashville.
Right. That songwriting. We talked a little bit about this before
Yeah.
we went on there, and I was talking about how I'm amazed that you guys can just put it. Like I said, I did lyrics for one song. That was enough
Mhm.
for me. I couldn't do it again, probably if I tried. But
I'm sure
it,
you're a lot better than you think you are.
I don't know. I've tried. I've had some ideas, but I just can't. I get. You know how you talk about. You said
Mhm.
when I'm not good at something, I get
Yeah.
frustrated with it. Yeah, that's me. When I'll get thinking about it. I'll have an idea, and when I get thinking about it, I can't come up with it. Push it to the
You know, the
side, and
best trick for that is to not judge yourself and to just free write. And then and then you can put things together later. But the best way when you have an idea is just write and then think about who would I be talking to if I'm saying this? But
right,
the thing is don't judge yourself because I used to do that all the time and I mean sometimes I kind of get caught and still do. But when you start, it's kind of like I call it writing with the non-editing brain. If you're writing with the editing brain, you're cutting off the creative flow that happens when you're in a state of flow. When the good ideas come,
right,
cut that off. I call it the magic, you know. That's when you cut off. But if you write with the non-editing brain, where you're not judging what the ideas are coming through, that's when you allow the magic to happen. That's when you're like, oh, how did I come up with that? That's a great idea.
yeah, I'm getting a songwriting class 101 right here. Put this to use right here. So writing that first song, there, how hard was that for you? I mean, did you just? I mean, you come up with the idea, and do you remember the first song you wrote?
Yeah, gosh. I would write little things when I was a kid, but the first time I think I wrote a song was when I was at Berkeley, and it was terrible. I mean, and I went in, I remember I sang, it was like a competition, and I went in and sang it, and it was just, they were just like,
Okay.
thank you, Noelle. And I was like,
Boy,
wow,
if
I
they could
suck.
only see you now.
Oh, I was like, God, I suck. And things like that, they can get it, they chip at your self-esteem and but you just gotta one thing I've told myself, it's like with anything, it's a skill that no one's born a genius songwriter. It's a thing you have to, you work at and you can get better but the one thing is not writing with the editing brain.
Right. And Jim and Nicole said, yes, separate creating from refining. That's what they're
Yes,
saying.
amen.
So I'm sure, everybody was affected by it. You're out there trying to get your foot in the door and getting on. How did COVID affect you? I mean, how did that slow you down? I mean, it
Oh,
affected everybody, and I'm sure in your line of work, just like I asked Justin last week, he said, "Yeah, just maybe come to a standstill."
uh-huh. It was interesting for me. I was in LA and it hit and it was like, what is this? Wait, you're
Exactly.
telling me I can't go outside? You're telling me I need to wear a mask outside and I'm going to get in trouble. And then they had curfews. So I can't go outside after 6 p.m. and I'm going to get in trouble. And like my neighbors are going to call the police on me if I have 5 people over. I mean, it was just nuts.
Yeah.
But early on, when we were on kind of lockdown, I was like, or when the lockdown started, I was like, okay, I'm just going to take this. What can I use? How can I use this to my best advantage? So I was like, okay, working out like crazy, writing, like just doing a ton of, just trying to be as creative as possible. Like really, I really took advantage of the downtime. And then I remember one day, there was some news that it was like really bad. Like we weren't getting, I think it was the flattening of the curve thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and I remember going like, screw this. And I went to like Williams or whatever, Ralph's, whatever grocery store. And I got it's my guilty pleasure, my Cheez-Its, regular Cheez-Its and red wine. Like that's my
Cheez-Its and red. That could
I
be another
just
the
got
next
the cheese
song
red
right
wine. I was like, screw this.
Cheez-Its and red wine.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you ever get COVID?
Yeah, I did. I got it when I moved to Nashville, actually.
Yeah.
So I moved in December 2020.
And I know it affects people different ways, but I had it, and it was like I lost like 20 pounds in a week, and and the only thing I could eat was an orange. I mean,
oh no.
that's the only, everything else, and I never lost my taste, but everything, when I got my appetite back, everything's tasted salty for a while. But yeah, it was 102-degree fever for a while, for about 2 weeks. But yeah, it was, I'm not complaining. A lot of people had a lot worse than I did.
Mm-hmm.
So talk a little about your first single you did, which was, I guess I'm right here, Prove Your Value. Is that right?
Yeah.
What was it like recording that first single, though? I'm sure that had to be pretty exciting for you.
Well, that's an interesting thing. So when I was in LA, I was working with a producer. So when I started performing, when I was playing out live, a friend of mine who ran the nights had a kind of recording studio set up at his house. And I had never recorded professionally a song before. And it was around my mom's birthday or Mother's Day. And I had asked him, I was like, hey, do you think you could help me record a song for my mom as a Mother's Day gift? And he was so gracious and was like, yeah, of course. And because when I was a little girl, I would sing Walk Away Joe by Trisha Yearwood around the house all the time.
Yeah.
And I just love that song so much.
That song. Don Henley doing the background. That's so great.
One of the best songs ever written. I mean,
yeah.
Her vocals on it are just so rich, and
it tells a story, just like you talk about. That's what I love about it. It tells a story.
Yeah. Tells a story.
You hook me in with that. And then when you throw harmonies in like they had on that, like I said, when I was young, I did not want to hear the Eagles. I was like, oh, the Eagles, Then when they did Hell Freezes Over, and I was like watching them play Hotel California, and then I heard the harmonies, I was like, what the heck? And I've been hooked ever since. Hooked ever since. You give me a good harmony, I love it.
Oh, Desperado is one of my favorite songs.
Oh yes. We could do a whole hour and a half on Eagles stuff. So, but yeah, so you ended up recording Walk Away Joe?
So I recorded Walk Away Joe, and I put it on a little iPod Nano and sent it to my mom so she could listen to it whenever she wanted to. And I also put it on SoundCloud, and it got the attention of a woman who was working for a producer who was starting his own label. And she reached out to me, and she's like, hey, I would love to have you come in for an audition. My boss is starting a record label. So I went in and I met with this guy, and Stefan Dickerson, and I worked with him for a few years. And early on, though, he sat me down and he goes, I think you have a real shot at getting a deal. And I was like, no.
Yeah, you're like, nah.
No, I was like, no, because I don't know. I just loved to sing, and I just thought that was not, it wasn't going to work out, because I tried out for The Voice, which was a horrible experience.
Oh,
I just
really?
did it. Oh yeah. And I was like, I'm not, I was like, I'm not good, but and I was always singing and trying to write. And so anyway, so he's like, I think you have a shot at, could get a deal. And I was like, okay, well, let's try. so he was like, well, you got to write, can you write some stuff? And I was like, oh yeah, So that's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to really write some good songs. So I got really focused, and I wrote that. I wrote a couple other ones, and that Prove Your Value was one take vocal, and in his little studio in LA, one take. There's no adjustments on it. It's very raw, just a
Wow.
piano and my voice, because I wasn't planning to put that out. We were just trying to use that to get me signed,
All
to
right.
show this is a one take. Like, she has such a great voice. Like, this is a one take. There's nothing done to her voice. So we ended up getting close to getting some meetings, but then nothing worked out. And that was, it's disheartening because it's rejection, but I'm used to it.
I can't, I don't take rejection well. I can't imagine how that is on you if you have to go through that over and over. I guess it makes you stronger and it makes you, but yeah, I probably would have after a few times I probably would say, you know what, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. But
Yeah, it is what it is. But when you love something so much, it's
yeah.
it's weird. It's like masochistic. Just keep slapping me in the face.
Yeah, well,
But
you've done pretty. I think you've done pretty well.
oh, well.
Another song that I really like that was I Want to See You Again with
Mhm.
legendary guitar player Steve Cropper, who was,
Mhm.
if you guys recognize that name, and I'd heard the name and I was like, okay, where have I heard that name before? The
Yeah.
Blues Brothers. I was like,
Mhm.
this is the guy on the Blues Brothers, and he's done so much other stuff though. I mean,
I
there's
know.
like a who's who that he's played with. I mean, I pulled it
Mhm.
up today, looking at who he's played with. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy is like incredible. That
Oh, yeah.
song, that's a pretty good. I really like that song. Yeah,
Thank you
how was
so
it?
much.
How was it working with him?
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, he's so talented, and I've learned so much just from being in his presence and hearing him talk about how Otis Redding came in,
Talking
you
to
know,
Bay.
and he's the reason that Otis got a recording contract, I believe. Just hearing the stories that he had, and the way his mind works is so fascinating. And I remember the first day that I got the tape back with his guitar playing on the song, I was in my car and I just started crying. I was like, I
I
can't
can
believe
I mean, I can see that. I can see that.
I
Uh,
can't believe Steve Cropper's playing on my song, and it's a song I wrote. It was amazing, and so I'm
and
just very grateful.
the fact that he played with on John Lennon's album too. I mean,
Yeah.
I was like that's. I mean, I'm just looking now at this list. Aaron Neville, Dolly Parton,
Mhm.
Roy Orbison, Peter Frampton, Art Garfunkel. It's a
Mhm.
who's who of people that this guy's played with, and
Oh,
just
yeah.
then being on the Blues Brothers. That's what, and that's a shame that that guy was on the Blues Brothers movie. He was in the Blues Brothers band. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what got me. And I'll tell you
He's
this.
stuck in that movie too.
Yes,
If you
he is. He is. That's and
I watched
anybody,
it
if you haven't,
recently.
I hope Dan Aykroyd, if you're out there listening, I hope we can get you some views on the Blues Brothers tonight by talking about Steve Cropper up here. But
Uh-huh.
Rod Stewart, another one, Winona, gosh, no, he's played with so
Mhm.
many great. But yeah, and I was watching your, looking at your YouTube channel all through the week, and you do some Christmas songs, which one of my favorite Christmas songs, and
Mm.
Dolly Parton, "Hard Candy Christmas," and you nailed it. I mean, you
Aw,
nailed it. Yeah,
thank you.
that and "I'll Be Home for Christmas." I mean, oh,
Mm.
geez. I was
Thank you
like,
so much.
have you ever thought about maybe doing a Christmas album in the future?
Yeah, like, I wanna do it tonight. Like, tomorrow.
If you do one, there was a song that Amy Grant did, "My
Mm.
Grown Up Christmas List." If you do an album, you have to do that one. That is one of the most beautiful
Which
Christmas.
song?
"My Grown Up Christmas List."
I'm gonna write that
Amy
down.
Grant sings it. You have to, yeah, you listen to that, yeah, because I think you could really do a good job on that one. And listen to me talking like I'm your manager or something. I think you can really do a good
No,
job.
I'm gonna go listen to it. I haven't heard
You
that
hadn't heard
one.
it before?
No, and I love Amy Grant.
Yeah, yeah, she's pretty awesome too. So let's get right down to the main reason we're here for. Your new single,
Hmm.
Limbo. The video just came out yesterday, and the video, I'm gonna say that, and the song. I don't know how big a fan you are of Yellowstone, the TV
Oh,
show.
I'm obsessed.
That song, the first thing when I heard the start of that song, I was like, this song belongs on Yellowstone.
That
And I'm like
would be awesome.
listening to it, and I was like, yeah, this would be one of those songs I could hear on Yellowstone. But limbo, everybody's been in that situation before. You know, you're in limbo in a relationship, and you don't know what's going on. You kind of got a feeling, but you don't. And then you just rather, it gets to a point where you rather just say, say it's over, and then
Hmm.
it keeping me right here in the middle. And like I told you before we went on the air, the best line in the whole thing is it's kind of like at the little break in the middle. I'll even take it's me and not you. And then boom,
Yeah.
it goes back to it again. And I'm like, oh man, that's freaking awesome there. But yeah, what was it like? What's it tell us a little bit about Limbo, about how you come up with writing that and the video and stuff. I watched your short about when you got finished filming the video. You couldn't really let anybody know anything then, but what
Yeah.
was it like filming the video and doing and Limbo? Talk about Limbo.
Oh, it was so fun doing the video. I worked with Lindsay Pacos, who directed and produced my other music
Right.
videos. And we rented a house and in 2 hours just shot this thing, and I styled it myself. And I'm independent. So
Right.
I wear all the hats. So I did get my hair blown out because I'm not good at my hair, but I did my own makeup, and we just rushed through and just did a bunch of different outfits and scenes. And it was so much fun playing a different character and being a little
Yes,
sassy and um,
you were definitely that.
so it was super fun, and I was blown away by she is so talented. So I'm just lucky to get to work with her. And yeah, I started writing the song in LA, and the verses came first to me. Um, the notion of like, hey Joe, we've been going out a year. Where do we stand? Please make it clear. And
Yep.
this song was actually very interesting. How I wrote it. The working title was like at the beginning was Satisfaction, and I knew that wasn't right, but I just had it as a placeholder. And then I was working on the song, and I remember working on the chorus because I had the verses down, but I was working on the chorus, and I remember I called my dad and I was like telling him about the song. I'm like, I don't know, I haven't found the hook yet. And normally I start with the hook.
Right.
The hook usually comes to me first. It's a line and a melodic pairing, and it comes to me right away. And that's then I go and I build a story from there. But with this one, I don't know what to do. So I called my dad, and I was telling him, okay, so this girl, she needs clarity. I was like, I don't know if I like that. It's not. I don't know if that's what I want for the. It didn't feel right. I love
Right.
that word, clarity, and there's some beautiful songs written with it, but it wasn't right for this song. And I was sitting there, and I was, I think I'd Googled something about relationships, or no, I think I was like I was like researching something about that state of unknown, and then limbo came up, and it was like a light bulb because it rhymed with Joe, and I said,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is
That
perfect,
worked.
limbo."
Limbo.
And then I was like, "Okay, limbo," and then I was like, "Okay, what if I just repeat the limbo, limbo, limbo?" And I had this cool little falsetto run came to me,
Mm-hmm.
and it ended up being a really fun song, and I'm really proud of it. And
It's an awesome song. Awesome song. And Jim and Nicole are saying your obsession with Yellowstone is an understatement. That's
they're right.
yeah.
Well, have you seen 1823?
I
Or
have not watched
1883?
it yet. I have to watch it.
1883 is the best.
1883, and then there's a 1923 too, right?
I haven't seen 1923 yet, but 1883, best television I've ever seen.
That's Tim McGraw and Faith Hill in that one, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
and they're amazing. And the girl, the lead actress, I forget her name, but she's fantastic. And the way Tyler Sheridan uses a dramatic irony in that is one of the reasons it's so good. Because if something happens and you're just like, what is going on? Like, what happens? And you're so invested, and it's so dramatic.
Yeah, this house is obsessed with Yellowstone. So yeah, and they won't know what to do when it's over with. Which I don't know. I'm hearing next season might be it. I don't know what people will do without Yellowstone.
Well, I think Matthew McConaughey is supposed to be coming on to do it.
Yeah, but and I like Matthew McConaughey. And no, don't get me wrong, but it's not going to be the same without Kevin Costner. Kevin Costner in that role, he makes that. It just won't be the same. But I mean, which Beth is, yeah, she's bad. I like Beth, but but Kevin Costner in that role, I don't know if anybody wouldn't feel right. Nobody else being the head or whatever they're going to do. I'm sure they figure out something different to do with McConaughey, but just end it. I'd rather them just end it with Costner than do that.
Yeah.
So let's do this. I'm gonna do some quick hitting questions for you.
Okay.
And then we'll talk a little bit about what you got coming in the future and where everybody can find you. Okay. And now you've already answered the first concert. That was one of my questions. So that was James Taylor.
I read your mind.
Yep, you got it. Yeah. Great minds think alike.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a little tough on you because this would be tough on me, and it changes day by day. Favorite song?
Forever and Ever, Amen. See?
Wow.
Gotcha.
usually it's like, oh, I got to name just one.
I love Randy Travis so much.
Yeah.
I love that song. I'd love to do a cover of it. That song, it's my favorite.
There you go. It's out there.
I have you, Mr. Flythe, to thank for that.
Yeah. There you go. It's out there. If you could, and this, I think you probably had this asked to you before, if you could collaborate with any artist, living or not living, who would it be?
Collaborate. I would say Patsy Cline.
Patsy Cline? Okay.
Yeah. But living, I would say Luke Combs. I would love to work with Luke Combs.
Wow. Luke Combs, that's my daughter has, because I tried to do the new stuff, and I guess in my old mindset, I'm like, I can't.
Have you heard a lot of his stuff?
Oh yeah, I had, because she plays it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a story about Luke Combs now. Luke Combs, did you watch the Grammy?
Is he from near where you are?
He's actually like way down west of us. But did you watch the Grammys when he performed?
I don't think I did.
Okay, well, that was his first time performing at the Grammys. The guy he got to introduce him owned the bar that he played the first time in, and he employed Luke as a bouncer, which he said he was a terrible bouncer. But that guy, his name's Justin Davis. He went to school at the same school I did. He's from the same county. My daughter actually, for her senior trip, for her godmother took her on a trip. They went to Boone, North Carolina, which is where Luke was from. I guess he's from there. Well, that's where that place is, and they went to that place, met the owner, and he told me, you see right there, he said that spot right there is where Luke Combs, the first time I ever met Luke Combs was right there. And she was she was like, oh, but she like she likes that. She's got me kind of hooked on that new country, so I can handle some of it now. Some of it's a little, but I can handle, like Luke Combs. Morgan Wallen. I like Morgan Wallen. I really like him. And that what's that guy's name? Ernest. What he does, Flower Hardy. Shop. Oh yeah, Flower Shop. I love Flower Shop now.
Me too. He has a new song called The Songs We Used to Sing, I think. It is great.
I'll have to
Ernest.
check it out. I'll
It's
have to check it out.
great.
See,
I
because I
listened
do
to
it.
it 10
I
times in a
do
row.
yeah. See, that's how I did with Flower Shop. When I heard that the first time, we were on the way. I was taking her out to eat, and she played. And after that, I was like, "What's the name of that song?" And I didn't want to let her on like I liked it or anything like that. What's the name of that
Yeah.
song? And I sat there, got home, and listened to it on my headphones over and over again. And
Yeah.
then when we got in the car the next time, I was singing it. She was like, looking at me like, "What?" But what was I going to tell you, though? Okay, let's just move on. Old Man, I tell you what,
Was it
enjoy
Luke Combs or Morgan Wallen? We were talking about Morgan Wallen.
Morgan Wallen. Yeah,
The Songs We Used to Sing. You got to listen to that.
I'll listen. I'll definitely check that. No, I was going to tell you what I do too. I took it upon myself to start listening to stuff that I really hadn't listened to before. And I do it like a album chat, and I'll pick an album and I'll do the whole album from cover to cover. And I've listened to some stuff that I didn't think I liked that I love, like, and that was Morgan Wallen was one. Gosh, it's been. I've listened to the Beatles, which I wasn't a big Beatles guy. My dad listened to the Beatles. My mom was a diehard Elvis fan. That's all we ever heard in the house. On Saturday when she was cleaning, we had one of the old stand-up radios with the turntable on it. She would blast that stuff too, boy. So yeah,
How
I've come to
cute.
appreciate Elvis more over the years, though.
I love Elvis.
Okay, now this may be harder for you than the song.
Okay.
Something you listen to that people would be surprised that you listen to. And knowing you now that you say you listen to a lot of different things, I don't know if people would be surprised of anything you listen to. But what was something you think, first thing that hits you that people would be like, wow, she listens to that?
I mean, I don't know if it'd be surprising, but I love Britney Spears, but like 1999, 2000s Britney Spears.
Okay. When she first started?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mariah Carey. I don't know if that would be shocking.
Now you see, but you're like me. You like music. I mean, good music.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. So a lot of people get trapped into this whole, well, if I listen to this, like if I listen to country music, I can't listen to anything but country
Yeah.
music. And I'm
Well,
not
also,
like that.
yeah, I love AC/DC. That's what I work out to. Yeah, AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, AC/DC and Zeppelin are probably my favorite bands, and then the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. I mean, there's so many, but AC/DC. Yeah.
There's certain Zeppelin songs that I like, but as far as an overall Zeppelin fan, I'm just like, okay, I can't. Some of the songs are too long. I can't.
Yeah.
You do an 8-9 minute song, and I'm like, oh gosh. But yeah, like Misty Mountain Hop, I like that. And Stairway to Heaven's okay, but I've heard it so many times now, it's just fatigue for me.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. Mariah Carey's good with me. I was a big and I had to hide it a little bit when I was a teenager, but Debbie Gibson.
Oh yeah.
Oh
she
my
was
Lord.
Cute.
I've got some Debbie Gibson CDs over there right now that I still have. And my daughter, we raised her right. We got her at 3 years old. It's on YouTube. Her singing "Lost in Your Eyes."
Aww.
She did. At first, she didn't know we were filming her. We were on the way somewhere. But yeah, this pretty cool.
That is so cute. It's on YouTube?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. She does a couple of songs on there. But all right. I think I've taken up a lot of your time tonight. But let's talk a little bit about where we can find you. Of course, the website, and I'm looking at the website right now is www. Does anybody ever say www anymore?
Yeah, I think so.
NoelleToland.com.
That's me.
That's I'm looking at your face up here right now. And you can find her there. You can find her, Instagram?
All my socials. Yeah, I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I'm on YouTube. Twitter. I'm on everything.
She's all out there. She's all out there. I'm pulling up your YouTube right now, I think I subscribed to it. Should have. I'm sure I did. So what's planned in the future now? Is there any more new music coming?
Yeah, I'm actually in the studio right now working on 4 new songs that I've just recently written. I'm really excited about. They're special, and I'll be releasing those. I'll be releasing my EP, which will have 4 songs, the 3 of which are my singles that are already out: Limbo, Sun Will Rise, I Want to See You Again, and then also a Patsy Cline cover of Poor Man's Roses that Steve's also playing on.
Okay. So
which it's a really cool song. We took Poor Man's Roses, which kind of had, of the era, it had this kind of bouncy kind of vibe to it. It was a beautiful song, and Patsy Cline's an icon. But we put a modern bluesy spin on it, and it's a great song. I'm proud of it. So that'll be the EP that I'll be releasing very soon. And then shortly after, I'm going to be releasing new music. I'm writing like crazy. Like, can't stop me.
Yeah, can't stop you. Oh, look, now see this. I don't know if this is. I'm assuming this is Nicole saying this. She heard me talk about Debbie Gibson. She said, "Yes, only in my dreams." Yes, yeah, I could listen to all of that. That everybody knows my secret's out. I'm a Debbie Gibson. I'm a Debbie Gibson fan, big time.
Cute.
Talk a little bit before we let you go. You brought up talking about doing an EP. Is it easier for you now to just put out singles a little bit at a time, or in this day and time with you've got YouTube, you've got Spotify, you've got Apple Music. Is it easier for you to put out singles at a time until you get enough for an album, or?
No, I think it's more cost effective. I don't know, I've never just gone to produce one song.
Right.
Every time I've done a project, the last 2 times, I've gone in with 3 or 4 songs that are ready. But I think unless you're very established and you're signed, I don't see the point for myself personally to do an album. I mean, I would love to produce lots and lots and lots of albums, but it's a business, and
exactly.
I need to build a following and release singles that can get on people's radar. And so, yeah, I think it's different now than it was, because now you can the beauty of and I think things like networks like TikTok and like YouTube, you can release and post videos of unreleased songs and get actual feedback from people, and which can lead to you recording the the or not. If the feedback's like, oh, I don't really like that, but the first time in history, I think this is, you're getting actual feedback from people that would listen to your music, as opposed to just in the old days, they had gatekeepers who would release certain things that had to be at a certain, level. So it's leveled the playing field, social media.
And it's give a lot of people that may not have had that chance in the old days. It's giving them a chance to get discovered now, which I think is great. A lot of people are like, well, they're not paying their dues. But my thing is, if they can sing, if they can put, if they can put a good music out there, who cares about the dues part? I mean, they're doing it just like everybody else did. I mean, they're just getting discovered quicker.
Totally.
Well, we're going to do our best to get you that following, to try to help and get you that following if you don't already have it. Because look, I have so enjoyed talking to you tonight. You guys, yes, you definitely. I was a fan before, but you definitely got me as a fan now. I'm looking forward to.
Well, I'm a fan of you too.
Yep, follow her on YouTube, follow her on all the social medias, and guys, just watch out for this girl, because she's going to be something in the future. That is Miss Noelle Toland. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great night, and good luck to the future. And we will definitely be keeping up with you. And next time when you get ready to put something else out, let me know. We'll get you back on, and we'll talk some more.
I will, for sure. Thank you so much for having me, Stevie. It's been such a pleasure.
And thank you to Jim and Nicole and Matthew for chiming in. We appreciate you guys' comments. And guys, that's going to do it for tonight. Hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next week on The Fly.
Just listen here, been going out a year. Where do we stand? Please make it clear. Time is precious, so don't waste mine. Please don't take away my prime. Don't be a man, give it to me straight, 'cause I ain't got the time to wait. Make a decision or else we're through. You better decide what to do. Please don't leave me in limbo. This in between is killing me. Oh, can't you see? Limbo, limbo, limbo. Save me just from this limbo. Make this limbo end. Joe, the fact that I even have to ask is telling me that you'll pass. Tell me now, we'll both take time. Whatever you decide, it'll all be fine. Joe, I gotta know, is it yes or no? I gotta row this boat ashore. Pick a lane, whatever you do. I'll even take, it's not me, it's you. Please don't